Hello dear students, welcome to digital classes. In today's session, let's learn a new topic in biology. Just have a look at these slides. What is it that you can see around? You can see water, glacier, rocks, plants over here. So what are all these things that you can see? These are all actually gifts of nature. These are not the things which are made by man. So these are called as natural resources. The things that are present in nature, which are gifts of nature to human beings, which are very important for human beings to continue and lead their life, are called as natural resources. So let us study in detail about these natural resources, how they are useful to us and how we actually exploited them and spoiled them. Resources are of two types, coal and petrol. Now, once you use coal and petrol in your daily life, can you get them back or replace them immediately? It is not possible. So, it takes lot of time for these things to get renewed and replenished. So, these are called as non-renewable resources. What about these that you see on the slide? You find wind blowing, you find water, every day you get sunshine. So, these had been there since ages together and they will be there even in future, right? So, these are called as renewable resources. The resources which can be replaced after their usage are called as renewable resources. Now, what happened to these resources over a period of time? We find that today the resources are getting depleted, and the reason for this, it is nothing but overpopulation. In the last 2 centuries, population of human beings have increased tremendously, and the reason for this is availability of good medical facilities. Earlier people used to die in large numbers, so death rate was higher than birth rate, but today it is not the case. Because of the availability of medical facilities, the death rate has gone down. So because of this, there is an increase in human population. If there is increase in human population, what will happen? Obviously, more number of human beings, so more is the demand or more is the need of resources. So if the demand of resources is more, obviously our dependence on them is more and their supply is more. So over a period of time, what will happen? We are continuously using resources. We are indiscriminately using them. So one fine day, we would definitely end up with depletion and exhaustion of all the natural resources. What we did actually to all the natural resources, those are the gifts of nature to us. Human beings have actually overexploited these resources. Let's see one by one. So as you can see over here that animals have been overhunted. Why do human beings hunt animals? Definitely it is for the sake of food. Now apart from food, animals are also hunted for other reasons. Now for example, they are hunted for the sake of skin, that is which is used in leather industry. Then you find over here animals being killed for their horns. Elephants are specially killed for the sake of their tusk, which are one of the heaviest material that you find, which is made up of ivory. It is used for making artistic things. So animals are hunted for all these things, rather overhunted. So similarly, human beings have cleared forest for their usage. Forests are cleared so that the ground is there available for agriculture. Similarly, forests are also cleared for the sake of development, agriculture, urbanization. And because of this, what happened? There is actually soil erosion which occurred. So clearing of the forest led to soil erosion. Not only that, forests are cleared, so even wildlife is also destroyed. Then we also actually spoiled the nature of the soil. Soil fertility is lost. Why? Quality of soil which should be maintained. The intact of the soil nature and the quality is lost because of this. Anthropogenic activities have led actually to the pollution of earth, that is the quality of air, water, land, everything has spoiled in the name of urbanization, industrialization. Spoiled the nature of water, air quality, soil quality, and everything. So in short, what we have done to these resources, animals are overhunted, we have cleared the forest, soil erosion is taking place, fertility of the soil is lost, fuel supplies are getting depleted, and finally water, air are getting polluted. Actually, development and protection of environment and resources can take place. They can coexist. They can exist in harmony. Both can go side by side, and this is actually called as sustainable development. So dear students, let us try to look at different resources which are available for us, how they are actually useful to us and how we spoil them one by one. To begin with, forest. We know that forests are actually called as lungs of our planet. Why lungs of our planet? Because they take carbon dioxide which is there present on this planet Earth for the sake of photosynthesis, and they release oxygen. So whatever oxygen is present on this in this planet, it is because of forests performing photosynthesis. So they take away carbon dioxide which is actually released as emissions from vehicles or from industries, etc. So they try to take this carbon dioxide and they give fresh oxygen for us to breathe. Now forests prevent even floods, and they stop soil erosion also. Forests are the habitats for wildlife. Can you imagine all wild animals staying along with you in your villages or cities, towns? Is it possible that tigers, lions, they stay along with you? It is not. So forests provide habitat for all this wildlife. Forest prevents flood. How do they prevent flood? It is because in the forest there are trees present over there, and these trees bind soil particles very tightly. So because of which, whenever wind blows or water flows, the soil particles remain intact, bound to the roots. They don't get washed out. Thus they prevent soil erosion. And the flow of the water during floods, the speed is checked because of the presence of these trees and their roots. So they prevent floods. In forest, whenever plants and animals die, obviously decomposition takes place, and all this decomposition lead to the accumulation of nutrients in the soil. So in forest, you find there is reservoir of nutrients. Now let's talk about the commercial uses of forest. Commercial uses, that means you get the things which have market value. Actually, livelihood for many people, which provide livelihood for many people, and which is helpful for us. The things that we get from forest, they are helpful for us to maintain our needs. Now, for example, we get timber. So timber is used for the construction purpose, for the construction of houses, furniture, cardboard, etc. In the same way, you get from forest even a lac, because insects are there in forest. Then you get gum from forest, honey. You have Hevea brasiliensis plant, from which you can get latex, which is used in the manufacture of rubber. In the same way, lot of fruits you can get from forest, medicinal plants, herbs are available in forest. The biggest damage to earth would be in the name of global warming, which is right now currently taking place. So what is this global warming? If forests are not there, then the temperature of the earth would rise up. Average temperature of the earth is rising actually. It is because if the forests are there, the temperature of the earth can be kept under minimum level. If the trees are not there, then there is emission of green gases. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, water vapor and methane. These 4 gases are released in larger quantities. They trap the heat radiation of the sun, that is infrared radiation, and keep the earth warm. But if the earth is warm, then ultimately the whatever ice caps are present, glaciers are present, all that would melt, and this extra water would get added up to oceans and seas. Thus the level of the seas and oceans would rise up. Dear students, how to protect nature? We can learn this from a community called as Bishnoi community or Bishnoi tribe. This is a tribe which is found living in southwestern region of Rajasthan. There is a place called as Kejarli. Actually, the place is known because of a tree called as Kejari. So from here, we actually get one standing example how people have laid down their lives in order to protect nature. So you might have heard about Amrita Devi. Now this is an incident which took place in the year 1730. The then Maharaja of Jodhpur has sent his soldiers to cut trees and get wood for the construction of his palace. So when these soldiers went there, they were blocked by Amrita Devi and her 3 daughters. She said that if you want to cut trees, first you kill me. So soldiers did not yield to her, and they killed her and her daughters. Then afterwards the word spread even to the other community members, and even they laid down their lives. So in short, 363 people lost their lives in order to protect the trees. When Maharaja came to know about it, he stopped this, but by then people have lost their lives. So Bishnoi tribe is a tribe which teaches us that we have to take care of nature, they actually live their lives by a set of simple 29 rules. For them, conservation of nature, giving importance to nature, protection of nature is very crucial. So we also need to learn that. Now, what can we do in order to save forest? We need to go with adapting social forestry, so that we can grow trees which can grow in very less time, and the trees can be used for timber or any other purpose that we are looking for forest products. So once they go to forest to clear the trees, they should pointedly cut only those trees without cutting the other trees. That is what is low impact logging practice. And not only that, once they cut trees in any area, they should whatever number of the trees that they cut, they should actually lock or block that area and leave it so that the young plants will regenerate afterwards. And another important point that they should keep in mind is that whichever trees are present, the largest trees or having high commercial values, they should not touch those trees. That means people should cut trees, which is called as mindful cutting. They should be thoughtful when they cut the trees, not simply go and clear the trees as they like. They should be followed. Another resource, which is nothing but soil. If you are conserving soil, that means we are indirectly or directly conserving plants and animal resources also. Plants and animals as resources also. So we know what has happened to the quality of soil because of fertilizers and pesticides. But dear students, we also need to see that soil is protected from being eroded away, which is soil erosion, which is called as. So especially in the hilly regions, the soil is prone to lot of erosion. So what two steps that are followed over here in the hilly regions to stop soil erosion is, one is the terrace farming is adapted by farmers, and the second one is counter strip cropping. The difference between terrace farming and counter strip cropping is that in terrace farming, the whatever hilly region is there which is taken up for farming, the area is cut into flat wide steps. So area is cut into steps, wide flat steps, and the crops are grown on the steps. So this will reduce erosion as well as try to stop water. It will help the water to seep into the ground. What is counter strip cropping? First, strip cropping means we are talking here about alternate cropping, which is nothing but mixed cropping. So counter, what is counter? Counter lines. Counter line is a line which will join all the dots, means all the points of the places which are at a equal heights. What is biodiversity? The existence of life in different shape, different size, in different habitats, having different modes of life is called biodiversity. That means we find living things in all regions of this planet Earth. You find living things in aquatic bodies, on trees, terrestrial forms, in deserts. You find them in Arctic regions. Everywhere around living things are present. So the flora and fauna that is present, this is actually rich resource that we have, because they provide us with lot many things, with food, with medicines, with construction material. Now, one simple example is pollination. That means insects are greatest pollinating agents. You know the meaning of the word pollination, right? It is the transfer of the pollen grains from one flower to the stigma of the same flower or of the other flower of the other plant otherwise. If these insects are not there as pollinating agents, then obviously there would be no fertilization, there would be then no fruit formation, no seeds, and if the seeds are not there, then you will not get the next generation plants. So we can understand how important this biodiversity is for us. Around 50 to 70,000 of these plants that you have, they carry medicinal value with them. That means they are very useful to us. There was an actually entomologist by name Terry Irwin. Now, once he tried to actually do research on beetles in forest of Panama. So he just tried to flog off an area, a canopy of forest over there using a pesticide, and he counted the number of the beetles which fell down. To his surprise, only from 19 trees, 20 trees, he could get 1200 beetles. Out of these 1200 beetles, there were 163 species which exclusively lived on this plant. See on your screen, which is called as Luhia semanni. That means 163 species of beetles lived only on this one species of plant. He went on to say that There were actually species of beetles, 80% of which were not known to people earlier. So he meant that number of the organisms or the biodiversity that is found on the branches on the tree tops is double than the organisms that you find it on the ground. And he also went to the extent of saying that arthropodans number is actually 30 million. That means 30 million species are there. And he also said that in Panama, 40% of the biodiversity is only of insects. If this is the number that we are talking about, how important are these organisms to us? We should know about it and try to save them. Dear students, we know that we can't see this particular organism right now because it has become extinct. So, extinction of dinosaur is because of the natural reasons, right? But because of our activities, animals are threatened and they have become extinct. They are not most of them are on the verge of getting extinct because of our activities, which is not good. It is said that around 200 to 1000 species are getting extinct every year because of our activities. Now, if let's try to understand lawn. You know what is lawn? Lawn is nothing but a stretch of green grass. It is very beautiful to see and enjoy, but then when you try to understand how lawn is grown, developed, maintained, then you will know that it is actually not good idea to have lawn, because a lawn is developed after clearing trees over there. So big trees are being cut out, trees of different species are cut out to maintain a lawn. And apart from this, lawn, the grass that is used, it comes from the other nation. That means it is not even native species. So anything which is not native species sometimes can be very dangerous to the existing indigenous crops or indigenous species. Dear students, you yourself can do one small activity to see how animals become extinct around you. Now, for example, let's say that you start with this season. Let's say you're starting in summer season. Just try to look around different insects that are available in your neighborhood. Make a note of all those insects, that is their number. Then try to again see, that means this study is for 1 year. After summer season, you just try to see the insects that you find during rainy season. Then make a list of all the insects that you have seen. Is it the same species that you find or different? Then again follow it in winter and again repeat it in the next year. With this, you will come to know how many species have become extinct, how many new have been added. Dear students, another big resource which we already discussed at the beginning is non-renewable resources, which are nothing but fossil fuels. What are fossils? Fossils are actually the remnants of past life. So, from the dead plants and animals, when they get buried deep underground, either below the oceans and seas or the ground, you find that they are subjected to anaerobic decomposition. There is lot of pressure, there is no oxygen over there. So, because of this, dead plants and animals get converted. If it is plants, they get converted into coal, and if it is animals, then they get converted into oil, that is nothing but our petroleum. So, this slide shows us these are the different resources from where we actually get our energy from. Now, we already discussed earlier that because there is rise in population, the demand of these fossil fuels have increased tremendously, and if we use at this particular rate or pace, very soon we would be left up with no resources, fossil fuels in future. If that is the case, then that would lead to a condition called as energy crisis. What can we do in order to save or find alternative methods to replace these fossil fuels? Scientists have come up with biodiesel or biofuels also. That means it is generation of fuels using organic matter. So, one such plant that we can use over here is Jatropha plant. The seeds of the Jatropha plant can be used up to produce oil, which can be used as biofuel. Now, dear students, you might have heard about some of the fastest running trains in India. So, one such train is Shatabdi Express. Shatabdi Express runs using this biofuel. Now, Reliance Industries have actually entered into an understanding with the government of Andhra Pradesh at Kakinada, wherein they have acquired around 200 acres of land, and they started growing this Jatropha plant so that they can prepare biodiesel. So in future, if fossil fuels are not there, we can depend on this biofuel, that is biodiesel, coming from the seeds. Another important resource that is available for us is minerals. Dear students, when you try to look around you, whatever devices you see, or whatever machinery you see, we get all these from metals and their alloys. So do you find metals in their purest form? No. We try to go with mining of it. So what is mining? It is extraction of the minerals from earth. So these minerals are extracted, it is purified, which you study it under metallurgy, and then the metals are being used up. So whatever thing you see, whether it is a simple needle or sewing machine, the machinery that is used in the field of agriculture or in industries, all these come from metals and their alloys, which is actually coming from minerals. So we find 4 types of mining. So what are the 4 different types of mining? First one is underground mining. Second, surface mining, that is top level mining. Placer mining, this is also called as open cast mining. Open cast mining means mining is done in the open water areas, that is in the streams and rivers. Now when you talk about all this mining is not good activity. Especially mining is done even in the hilly regions where the top layer is removed. When the top layer is removed, it so happens that around 500 feet of material is removed using big machines. So moving of such big machines on hilly regions, which is delicate region, is not good. On top of that, all the material that is removed is being thrown into streams and rivers, thus causing actually diversion to the flow of water. So all these things is not good because it causes devastating results. So because of mining, it so happens that the floods can take place, and a recent example we have seen is the floods which occurred in Uttarakhand. Apart from this, forests are destroyed, wildlife is destroyed, soil erosion occurs, and we also find sinkholes over here. There is development of sinkholes wherever it is possible. Dear students, 4th type of mining that we talk about is in situ mining. In situ mining, wherever mining goes on, there itself a mineral is extracted in purified form and used directly. All the other mining, whatever methods we have seen, we find that the mineral is taken out and purification is done elsewhere. But in situ mining, material is extracted and its purification is done in the same way. So this is done for uranium and for cobalt. So dear students, so far we understood that yes, natural resources are very important for us and we need to save them. So late Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi has said that we know, our Indians knew since ages that all the plants, animals, that is flora, fauna, they are all interconnected with each other and they all stay in balance, in harmony with each other. And if you try to destroy one species or try to touch one part, the entire ecosystem will collapse. So our people knew that we need to conserve natural resources, and it is not based on some sentimental fact. In the same way, even father of our nation Mahatma Gandhi has said that whatever resources are available on this planet Earth that we are using, actually we did not inherit this from our ancestors. This all the resources, present resources, we have borrowed it from our future generations. And if you have borrowed anything from future generation, so even whenever you borrow anything, you need to return it. So when we have borrowed all these resources from future generations, it is our responsibility to see that we give away everything properly to future generations. We hand it over properly to them so that they will use it properly. They will have material to use or for their daily needs. So what are the things that we need to take care of? What are the steps that we can do, we can follow to save natural resources? Let's see a few of them. We need to follow over here 4 R's which you have been learning time and again. So first R is reduce. So what we have to do over here? Reduce means what? Reduce the usage of water unnecessarily. Don't try to waste water. Try to turn off the lights and fans when you are not using them. Try to get your taps repaired, leaky taps repaired, so that water usage is minimized. In the same way, we can go with reusing material. For example, you have a gum bottle. Once your usage, primary usage of using the gum is over, then what you will do with bottle? Just try to cut near the mouth region, the neck region, and use the bottle as pen stand. In the same way, big bottles can be used even for growing plants. So try to find out, be creative, try to find out to use material instead of throwing them away. Now, recycle. Recycling is, once you have done with the usage, then try to send the material back again. Plastic, glass, metals can be recycled. So paper can be recycled. So send the material back to industries where they will create once again the same product from this. So when you talk about recycling, especially China and Mexico, they are known for recycling their paper. Try to recycle paper, then we can conserve half of the earth's trees. Similarly, Japan and USA, they are known for recycling 1/3 of their iron. They get it from their recycled automobile parts. So, as I said, that try to find out ways to see that waste material is converted into useful material. The fourth R over here is recovery. See, recovery means getting back the things. Now, for example, this is with regards to reforestation. Once you cut down 4 or 5 trees, whatever might be the reason, then try to plant somewhere else those 4 or 5 trees, so that those trees will grow for future. Now, what is it that we can do to conserve fossil fuels? Just wherever it is possible, try to cover the distance on foot. Instead of using individual cars, try to go adopt the carpooling method. Use public transport system. Don't use lights when they are not in use. So try to turn off fans and lights. Now, all the governments, they have started all over the world, they have started taking steps in order to conserve their flora and fauna and the other natural resources. So even in India, there was Wildlife Act which was passed in the year 1972, because of which 104 national parks were set up, and there are 544 national sanctuaries in India, thus protecting our plants and animals. In the same way, there should be special laws for factories also, that is installation of factories. Factories should be built up or set up far away from habitats, human habitation, and not only that, they should also have pollution controlling devices like adopting pyrolysis method or incinerators. There is one alliance of countries and the groups together called as IUCCN. This is nothing but International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, which was found in 1948. So what IUCCN does is that they give us some kind of models, strategy models to all the governments, that is to all the countries, saying that how they should work hard in order to save the natural resources. Not only that, they also release every year books called as red data books, which has information about the organisms which have become extinct, which are vulnerable, which will be threatened, or which are endangered species. So all this is present. So this is an eye opener to all the governments, so that they can take steps to prevent them. What is it that we have learnt in this particular lesson? We learned that resources are of two types, and renewable and non-renewable resources, how resources are helpful to us, and what are the steps that we have to follow to conserve all these natural resources. All these natural resources are priceless gifts of nature. If at all we were to pay money to all these resources, plants which give us oxygen, we would never have sufficient money to pay them. So we should take proper care of them, so that we will hand over these resources to future generations also properly in intact nature. Dear students, thank you very much. Keep watching digital classes. Try to download worksheets from SIET for better understanding and solve them. For any doubts, ask your teacher and consult your friends also. Thank you.